Catholic social thought is based on the experience of 20 centuries of dealing with complex human situations. The Church offers principles that are meant to be used as, I call it, criteria for evaluating, for judging complex social, political, economic situations, and also for identifying courses of action. First principle is respect for the dignity of the human person. Think of an experience that you may have had where you felt that you were treated more as an object rather than as a subject. You were seen as something rather than as someone. Think of that experience. Catholic social thought emphasizes that respect for the dignity of the human person is essential, is indeed the finality of all kinds of different social organization. It's really that is really important to recognize. Indeed, respect for the dignity of the human person is the, let's call it the matrix. It is that particular principle that helps us situate the other principles. The second principle is that of promotion of the common good. Common good refers to those conditions that allow human beings, both individually and collectively, to grow, to find their autonomy, to find their well-being. Such conditions might include, for example, access to healthy food, clean housing, accessible transportation, education for children, access to culture, a solid juridical order, a healthy environment. Think of a situation that's happening more and more where people, because of gentrification, are pushed out of their neighborhood and are forced to live in, how shall I say, in the outlying areas of an urban center. No longer do they have access to the easy credit, for example, of their local dépanneur or convenience store, where they've had relationships with the people that own that convenience store for many years. People are pushed, find themselves in housing programs in the margins, far from shopping centers and stores, needing to depend upon transportation services that are not always very handy. So you see how, for example, these different conditions work together. Catholic social thought emphasized the importance of promoting the common good that allows people, individually and collectively, to be able to have healthy lives. The third principle is what might be called the preferential option for the poor, or if you want to call it that way, the equitable distribution of goods. And it's important to understand the link between the two. The goods of this earth are meant not just to be the benefit of a small minority of people, a small group of powerful people, but are really meant to ensure the healthy development and well-being of all people, of all nations. So you see, for example, the link in that situation between the preferential option of the poor and the just distribution of goods. What is happening more and more in our culture, and indeed in our worldwide organizations, is that the global South is losing its resources to essentially feed the greed of peoples of the global North. There's a disparity in terms of the use of resources. I'm thinking of fossil fuels, I'm thinking about land, I'm thinking also about water. Certain people are able to use these natural resources to make a lot of money out of it, to be able to promote their interests or their group's interests at the expense of people, especially in the global South, or people in the outlying areas. Catholic social teaching here reminds us that the earth belongs to everyone, as the campaigns of development and peace underline all the time. Fourth great principle is that of subsidiarity. What is subsidiarity? Subsidiarity essentially recognizes that there may be different orders in society, but those orders that perhaps have more power, more resources, have a responsibility not only to assist those orders that have less, but also to respect the autonomy, the liberty, the initiative of these orders. That means families, community organizations, associations. These entities, these social bodies need to have their autonomy, their liberty, their freedom. And when the state invades the areas which are really the domain of community organizations, of private associations, and indeed of the family, that is a violation of the principle of subsidiarity. I'm thinking at the moment of the fact that the federal government, in seeking to change the criminal justice system, would want to impose upon the provinces a very, very heavy cost of further incarceration or longer periods of incarceration for people. There's a real question here of how the federal government is undermining the autonomy and the liberty of provinces in their own areas of jurisdiction. Fifth principle, participation. Catholic social teaching invites us to contribute to the development of the common good in our society. And I believe this is profoundly countercultural. There's a lot of pressures on us to essentially be couch potatoes, to be happy watching television, or to just sit behind in front of our computer screen and not get involved. Yet there's a terrific amount of things to do in our community, whether it be, for example, helping children of immigrant families, doing out their homework, getting involved in a local group with young people that need a sports program, or writing to your member of the National Assembly or a member of Parliament regarding such and such a piece of legislation, or actually walking in nature and celebrating the beauty of this gift that is entrusted to us by God. Participation is important. We're not meant to be just couch potatoes. And finally, solidarity. Solidarity reminds us that we are all responsible for everyone else. While respecting boundaries, yes, but we are all responsible for everyone else. You can't say, that's not, I don't care about this. We are all ultimately summoned to care for other human beings. And in order to be able to do this, we are called upon to put in place legislation, programs, and even social structures that are able to overcome structures of sin, structures of exclusion that are present in our culture, present in our world.